Just like in any other job application or competition, securing a spot in the JET program can be as difficult as you can imagine. However, getting an interview schedule can bring you just a couple of steps away from that short list of the next batch of ALTs or assistant language teachers under the JET program. In this video, I'm going to share some tips on how to ace the interview of the JET program, whether it's online or face-to-face. Again, just a disclaimer, I am not and I have never been part of the screening committee of the JET Program Philippines, nor the JET Program Philippines office. So everything that I'll be sharing here is based on my capacity as a fourth year JET ALT and hopefully going on my fifth next contract year. Let me share by addressing this unlimited concern about the Japanese language proficiency. Having a background or proficiency in Nihongo is an asset in your application. Why? Because it could mean that you're able to integrate more easily in a Japanese working environment or into a Japanese community. So having a Japanese language proficiency certificate, especially if your proficiency level is already quite high, is great. You'll get an additional merit or consideration for that. But do not overemphasize it during your interview. Just prove that you have that certain level of proficiency of the Japanese language during the Japanese language interview. Because there's an optional part whether you would like to take the interview in Japanese. I mean, there's a separate part for the interview. So if you have this proficiency certificate in Nihongo and you're not confident with your Japanese speaking ability, or if you have none at all, just be honest. Tell the panel of interviewers that you're not confident with your Nihongo or you don't have any. Anyway, they'll find out for themselves. On the other hand, if you come to the interview as in like all super duper Japanese, and you act or you talk like you already learned everything about Japan, your interview results might not be favorable. I believe among the qualities of a JET program applicant that the screening committee is looking for is your interest and your open-mindedness to learn more, to continue learning about Japan, about language, about culture. So take note of that. Another important point that they might look into is your flexibility. Regardless of your nationality or Japanese language skills or Japanese language proficiency, the interviewers might want to know how you will be able to manage or how you'll be able to deal with troubles or challenges once you get to the program and once you get to Japan. Because as we all know, living and working in Japan brings you to a different culture, a different working environment, a different level of challenges. And if you've been a practicing teacher, they might be interested in knowing how much of your teaching principles, how much of your strategies you are willing to tone down or to adjust just to fit your, new working condition or your new working environment. If I were part of the panelists or the panel of interviewers, I'd also be interested to know how much you're willing to compromise to, adjust to the Japanese system in all matters concerning workplace, concerning living or livelihood, concerning everyday life in Japan, and also your personal beliefs and maybe religious, social, political, and everything about yourself, about your personality. The next point would be personability. How good are you with people? As an ALT, you'll be dealing with different types of people, not only with different types of teachers, like teachers seasoned, new teachers with different teaching principles, different teaching strategies, but also the other people in the staff room or in the school, and also in the community that you will be living. So how friendly are you? How sociable are you as as a foreigner living and working in another country. And again, as a foreigner, as a gaikokojin living in Japan, how polite will you be in dealing or in addressing questions or concerns, or sometimes unusual questions or uncomfortable treatment that some foreigners here in Japan are experiencing because they're foreigners, they're gaikokujins. The interviewers might want to know that again, your personability or your quality as a social being. And the most important point, I think, that the panel of interviewers would like to know during the interview is your command of the English language. Common sense. You are applying to be an assistant language teacher. Assistant language teacher under the JET program. So therefore, you are expected to be good at English. You should know the basic grammar. You should know how to moderate your language to adjust to your teaching environment. And especially as an ELT, you'll not only be assigned to one level of education. So, for example, your base school is a junior high school, you might be assigned to elementary schools as your visit schools. Or maybe junior high school and then senior high school or special needs school. Or you might be placed as a full-time ALT in a senior high school. So, who knows? So again, the panel of interviewers might want to know how you will be able to adjust to the different levels of your learners. As far as I know, you're not expected to speak with American or British or Australian accent or any other accents since, hey, we're from the Philippines. And generally, we're supposed to be neutral in our accent. So there's no need for you to exaggerate your accent, your pronunciation, just to imitate other accents or other widely known varieties of the English language. What's important is you're able to use English as a tool for communication. And that's it. Another point, another important factor to remember is how do you deal with homesickness? So like especially for married applicants, those with kids, those who are newlywed applicants. So maybe they might be asking you about your plan with your family or with your dependents once you get accepted to the program. Another one is aggressiveness or argumentativeness. Of course, another it's a common sense also that you don't argue with your interviewers. What the interviewers would want to see is an applicant who is friendly, who is flexible, and who is willing to compromise some things simply because you're coming to the program as a participant, you're coming to the program as a foreigner who will live and work in another country. So, like, if you can't even go